It's KMJ at KMJNow.com or wherever you stream. Welcome to the MARC KAPETAN Show. This is attorney Mark Kapetan, your host. Today's show is brought to you by the Kapetan Brothers Law Firm. We've been serving the Central Valley since 1995. If you or anybody you know has been injured in an auto accident, a truck accident, or a motorcycle accident, give us a call at 559-498-8000. Or if you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, call us 559-498-8000. Monday through Fridays. Saturdays, Sundays is good too. 559-498-8000. Kapetan Brothers, we are the Valley's law firm. Folks, it was a pleasure to find out that my next guest is a fellow Golden Eagle from Clovis West. Yeah, I don't know. For years, you friends out there have seen her smiling face on ABC 30, anchoring the daily news, live at 5, live at 6, live at 11, right?
Live at 6 and 11.
Live at 6 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, being a news anchor is a thankless job that requires dedication, preparedness, and punctuality. You were 10 minutes early, by the way. I love that, too. Not to mention a command of the English language, reading skills, and a handsome face sure helps out. You see your favorite news anchor daily. They come into your house every day. They become the face and the voice who joins you in your living room and your bedroom every night, which I won't make any comment about with my next guest because it is definitely a very handsome, pretty face. And funny as that sounds, listen, they are almost part of your family. You know their every nuance, the way they laugh, the latest hairstyles that they have, the way they sign off at the end of the broadcast. And yet we rarely get to say hello to them or thank you. We rarely shake their hands or tell them to have a good night themselves. When you do see them out on the street, you wave and you call out their name like they're an old friend, and they politely smile and they wave back, knowing that you are part of their broadcast family. Fortunately for me, I've had the pleasure of bringing some of these broadcasters on the show so that we get to know them a little bit more about our family member, quote unquote. With nearly 30 years of broadcasting experience.
Oh, wow.
Do I say that?
Yeah, I mean, when I hear it out loud, it really is something that really hits me hard.
Sorry about that, but we're all about the truth around here on KMJ.
I started when I was 9. So
yeah, exactly.
That's the math there.
My next guest is a 6-time Emmy Award-winning journalist and a face that you see nightly. So I'd like to welcome to the MARC KAPETAN Show from our KMJ affiliate and broadcasting partner, ABC 30 News Anchor, Margo Kim. Welcome, Margo.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here today. Really.
I love it because, again, like I've said before, when we bring some of the news broadcasters on, it's like when you walked in today, you go hi, and we give a big hug, and you're like, hey, Mark, I'm like, and I realize, oh, I thought I've known you all these years, but I've never met you. Mm-hmm. Maybe once at the courthouse or something like that.
You know, that's one of the great pleasures of my job is that people feel that they know me because they see me every night in their living rooms, even though I don't know them. But that familiarity is so rewarding.
Okay. Listen, you're being very, very nice. Okay. and I understand you're a very nice person. Is it, or does it get burdensome? We were talking earlier about seeing Kopi on the air and stuff like that. You know, I know he's on another station, by the way. You guys are all real protective about that. But does it get exhausting after a while? Because you go out to dinner and, you know, the kids are with you and they're like, oh, there goes mom again, you know, saying hi to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, the kids are not impressed with what I do. That's for sure. They just kind of roll their eyes, and as you know, one more person takes a picture. But in this city, in this community, I would say that it's not burdensome, and most people are very polite. They want to say hello, and many times they do. At other times, maybe they're interrupting me while I'm at the gym, or like you said, out to dinner, and I do expect that. But most people are very respectful because they do want to say hello, and they often say thank you for being on the air for so long, for staying in this community. And so in that way, it's I take it as just an occupational requirement.
So you enjoy not as much the accolades, but the fact that you feel like it's part of a community thing.
Right.
Interesting. I understand. Tell me, you were telling me before we got on here about your daughter doesn't see that, but when another broadcaster came to her school, she happened to be starstruck.
Oh, she was so impressed with her, with another reporter. It was from a different station that visited her classroom. And she was telling me all about how she's so cute and she does such a great job and she gets to tell all these stories. And I said, hello.
Yeah, you're describing
your mother
mom.
over here.
Yeah.
This is what I do every day. But to them, it's what mom does. It's her job, and they've grown up with it.
Yeah.
So I think secretly they're impressed and proud. But of course, the teenage, filter says,
Mom.
whatever.
She thinks she's a big star.
They roll their eyes. I will say when my first daughter was 4, and my husband took her to the pediatrician's office, and they had a monitor in the office, and Channel 30 was on, and she pointed to the TV and said, "Oh, look, mommy!" And then another mom was in the office and said, "Oh, how cute! She thinks that's her mom." And my husband said, "No, that's really her mom." so
we better get to the doctor quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's too funny. How you've been with what is it, KFSN?
Yes.
Right. You've been with them for how long now?
KFSN. Oh gosh, I just passed 19 years.
I understand that. We asked Warren for secrets, and basically you're as good as he is, because they said there's no secrets basically. But he did say one thing. He says, "Oh yeah, she came about 20 years ago. I guess she used to work with me. I don't know if it was at that station or another station as an intern or something like that." He goes, "But quite frankly, I don't remember her." And I'm like, dude, how do you not remember her? I mean, come on.
Oh, I like to remind him of that every once in a while, because when I first started, back in the day, I had to send a physical resume tape out to all these stations across the country to try to find your first reporter job.
Yeah. So you pulled the VCR out?
A literal VCR. I literally sent tapes, and I even sent postcards with my self-addressed stamped postcard for news directors to either give me some feedback or tell me no, or at least I would know what the fate of my tape was.
Feedback?
Oh, yeah.
They take those tapes and they throw them in the trash. Oh, yeah,
in the circular file.
Yeah, they're not going to give you feedback.
So while I was doing that, I was interning after college. I was interning at a different station where Warren was working, Channel 47. And so I was, shooting video and going out with the reporters, and he was the big time, one of the main anchors there. And so I always tell him now, I joke around with him now, that I was an intern, but he did not know me or my name, and now we're co-anchors.
Was he married back then too?
Yes, I believe.
I'll tell you, he's happily married, and he's just such a nice. Like I said, we were trying to find something bad about Warren, and I said secretly, you must be in a motorcycle gang somewhere in the past. But I mean, I don't know. Listen, you're cute as a button right now, and you must have been even cuter as a button back then. and the fact that he didn't recognize you is just a testament to his marriage, I think. So
we our shifts maybe didn't cross paths, but I definitely remember writing a script for him at one time or another, and now we write scripts together.
Speaking of which, okay, so what is I don't know how you guys do it. Someone says, "Oh, Mark, you should do KMJ permanent, full time," and I'm like, I wouldn't have the time for it. I don't know how you do it. What time do you wake up in the morning, or what time do you start work? What time do you come home?
Well, now since I anchor the 6 and 11, I start my day at 2:30 at work.
Okay.
And then obviously I anchor the 11, so it's 2:30 to 11:30, which is, a solid 8-9 hour shift. And then, but I have an entire life in the morning, right? I get up, I see my family off, because I'm not going to see them for the rest of the day, and then run my errands, do whatever I need around the house, and then go into work. But I have worked almost every shift at Channel 30. And I will tell you, Mark, that this business, as long as the hours are, and as crazy as the different work shifts are, nights, weekends, and holidays in the media, it has given me the opportunity to work a shift that was compatible to my life at the time.
You know, it's funny because I was talking to Marcella about it. I want to talk about it when we come back from the break, but I thought it'd be completely incompatible with being a mother of two and a wife and all that kind of stuff. We are on with Margo Kim from ABC 30 Action News, still called Action News, right?
Action News. That's what we call it here.
She's the action behind it. All right, we'll be right back after this. This is KMJ. It's News Talk 580 1059 KMJ at KMJnow.com or wherever you stream. I can't miss that. I'll get fired if I miss that. KMJnow.com or wherever you stream. I'm going to get in trouble with your husband again. You're shaking your head, Marcella. Marcella, who does everybody call if they need an attorney?
Kapetan Brothers.
The Kapetan Brothers. You did that in a very bored way, Marcella. You're very tired of saying that, aren't you? Folks, I'm going to pop the music down because I want to get serious a little bit. Margo Kim's here from ABC 30. She saw me. she did a news report of me last week with some of the cases that I've had. So there is a very serious side to us down at Kapetan Brothers, not just all the radio stuff. If you have been in an accident or if you've been arrested, and believe me, we handle major cases. It's very, very, very stressful for me, for my clients. It's very scary, but we get great results. And a person doesn't know what to do, and I'm suggesting to you, call your local attorney. I don't care if you call me. Call us, because we do a good job for our clients. But if you need to call somebody that else has been that's been referred to you, that's fine. Just call your local attorney and ask a few questions, and it'll help put your mind at ease. Kapetan Brothers, 559-498-8000, the Valley's law firm. On with Margo Kim from ABC 30 News Anchor, the pretty face that you see. Is that okay for me to say? You know, the whole time, Marcella, I'm sitting here thinking, God, do I say stuff like that because it's 2020 and
You know, Mark, I'm old school in that way. I appreciate any and all compliments, really. I mean, you know, at this stage of the game. But you know, to me, it's not something that I would be offended over, or, you know, I'm a serious journalist and you should say that I'm a great hard worker, and before you comment on my looks, I get it. We're a visual society. I'm in a visual medium.
Yeah, in a visual medium. Yeah.
I take pride in how I present myself on the air, and if people compliment that, I am okay with it. It doesn't mean that I am any less, or it doesn't mean that it minimizes my work in any way.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think about that. That's the weird part about it is the people that sort of frown upon it are somewhat minimizing the other half of you. Mm-hmm. They're saying, "Oh, she's just a pretty face." Well, that's not what we're saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I get it. Oh, all right. Enough of you were a sociology major too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you understand all this discussion.
Exactly.
It drives me insane. I just wanted to go back to I was about to say our day, but your day was not my day. So I was 5 years ahead of you at Clovis West.
Wow. So we didn't even cross paths.
No, we didn't cross paths. Yeah.
Yep.
You knew the Richburgs?
Yes, I did.
Brian and Greg Richburg.
Yes,
and all them, yeah.
Yeah, big name on campus.
Yes,
For
yes,
sure.
they were. They're still a big name. Clovis West, did you take acting classes? I understand you like to be an actor. You were a singer, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. I have a passion. I have a love for the theater and performing arts. Did
you take it at Clovis West?
I did. I was definitely a drama nerd, as they say. At Clovis
Linda
West.
Bacon?
Was it Linda Bacon? I was, and that was just an incredible experience. I was in many shows. I thought I would pursue something in the performing arts.
Yeah.
But you know, bless my parents, my good-intentioned Asian parents, they, you know, steered me in a direction that they didn't want me to struggle, and they didn't want me to be a starving artist, even though, you know, many people pursue the performing arts and do just fine. Yeah. But, you know, I continued to be a performer, but then I found another interest in storytelling and journalism, and I actually received a scholarship from the Clovis Independent newspaper upon graduation for my writing.
Oh, really?
And
do you remember? Was it a certain story that you had written?
I think it was just maybe a collection of stories or pieces that I'd written for school,
right.
And then as I continued to get more interested in journalism, I discover my mother was actually a journalist in Korea.
Yeah, that's what I read
when she was
about.
younger. And so
And you didn't know it.
she didn't really talk about it, or she didn't push me into it or encourage me. It was just sort of a thing in our family, but maybe through osmosis, I got the journalism bug from her.
But you're talking literally journalists like you're doing on TV type thing, or news?
Yes. We have black and white photos of her in the studio with those big, ginormous cameras back in the day. And reading a big teleprompter.
And so you went into it not knowing that's what she had done.
Yeah. I mean, I had heard, my parents talk about it, once upon a time, but it was never really a topic of discussion, but it was kind of maybe just more in the background, and here I follow into her footsteps.
So I'm thinking, okay, Mom, I know when you graduated. I'm not going to say it on air. Okay, so that was about. Mom had to have been a journalist. Right around the time after the war, Korean War. You have a Korean, but both sides, parents, right? And so journalism had to be pretty tough back then because you got this neighboring country that just wants to blow the hell out of you, and you're the one who's promoting freedom and democracy, etc., on the air as a public figure.
It was challenging, but my mother had graduated from the top women's university in Seoul, and so opportunities were afforded to her, and certainly I think she was one of the rare ones to break through into the business at that time.
Oh yeah, it's true, as a woman
to be
too.
a female broadcaster, but Korea was very, very different back then, and even though it was a democracy, there was still remnants of an old regime and not as many opportunities as certainly there are now. So my parents immigrated to the U.S. to find better opportunities.
Yeah, what year was that?
And that was, 1966, 67.
Oh, wow.
And so their original plan was my father was going to be educated here. That's how he landed at Fresno State. And then my mother came after. They were engaged at the time, so my mother followed him over here. And their plan was to go back.
Really?
Yes, but they decided that the opportunities here, like many immigrant families, were just too great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Dad became what?
And Dad became a business owner. They both became business owners.
What was the business?
My parents owned wig shops in Fresno. I mean, I jokingly call it a hair dynasty for decades.
Really?
I would say 40 plus years.
What was it called?
Downtown Wigs. They had several locations at the time, and then their last location was Wigs and Braids that still exists at C Street in Fresno. Yeah. And I always say that hair put me through college. So
hey, hair put me through a few businesses too. I don't know, but that's all. But it's. I look. I got some Korean buddies of mine, and they say basically hair, makeup, plastic surgery, all that stuff is the biggest over in Korea. I mean, it's like a big industry over there.
Yes. Well, the K-beauty industry now has it's always been there, but now it has exploded, with the advent of YouTube and TikTok and all of these young girls doing makeup tutorials and skincare. And so skincare is a huge industry there.
And you call it K-beauty.
K-beauty, yes.
I had never heard the term. Yes. I know K-pop, and I know you love K-pop,
I love
by
K-pop.
the way.
There's K-beauty, there's K-pop, there's K-drama. And the Koreans have been ingenious in exporting their culture.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. They really have. I mean, for a music industry to infiltrate America like it's done. I mean, the UK is the only one who's really done it, So,
right, yeah.
Were you, I know you're heavily influenced by your culture. I know it was a big part of your life. Korean spoke in the house back in the day?
Yes, definitely. My
You're
parents
fluent?
still. No, unfortunately, I am not.
Did they?
Which is one of the biggest regrets of both my parents and I.
Yes.
But they were of that generation that believed assimilation was
Yes.
more important, and they wanted me to grow up not being confused or having an accent.
Yeah, no one understands that these
Yeah.
days. We my parents spoke Greek. They were actually first generation Americans though, but all my grandparents, and so they would speak Greek to each other. And when they would say, "Hey, do you want milk for breakfast?" They'd say "Thei skala," They would say it in their language. So we knew just these little tiny
Phrases,
bits of it, and
right.
that was about it. I'm assuming the same with you.
And swear words. Yeah, the important swear words, right?
Well, I was about to say a couple because I actually know yo voseo, but I won't say the cuss words that I know. So, all right, we'll be right back with Margo Kim from ABC 30 Action News, the newscaster you see every night when you go to sleep. So yo voseo. Michim namja. I'll tell you the joke about that when we come back. All right, we'll see you right after this. This is KMJ. It's News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Welcome back to the Mark Kapetan Show. You could check us out on kmjnow.com or wherever you stream. I'm going to pot this music down. Folks, I got one quick promo I want to give you. My nephew from Chicago was just signed to an independent label for indie. He's an indie artist. The band's name is Frico, Friko, Friko, Frico. His name is Nico Kapetan. Of course, he's Greek, and everybody's named Nico in the Greek families. This band, and I'm not saying it because I'm his nephew, they are great. If you're into Beatles, if you're into David Bowie, into stuff like that, this kid is scary talented. He's coming to Strummers. We think we have the booking finalized, but I want you all to go out to what do they call it? Spotify, your Apple Music, wherever you listen to, YouTube, and go look up Frico and like them. Subscribe, whatever you do. Friko, Frico. All right, that's my promo. Listen, we are on with Margo Kim from ABC 30. We're talking about her Korean heritage. Michim namja, as I said at the end, I call a buddy of mine and I say, hey, I'm going to call Unchong. Unchong was a friend of mine, and I want to say hello, how are you to her. And I called my DA buddy, who's James Shin, another Korean friend, and he goes, oh, okay, you need to say Michim namja. I go, okay, no problem. So I call her up and I go, hey, Unchong, this is Mark. Michim namja. She go, what? I go, Michim namja. She goes, you crazy? What? And I go, I'll call you right back. And so I call my buddy back, and he's just dying laughing.
Of course he
dying
is.
Laughing. We were talking about Korean cuss words. So I know the term jaji, and you go, and it has to be with the female anatomy. And you gave me a story about Korea and the word jaji.
Yes, actually, it's the male anatomy.
Oh, okay.
Yes, the male anatomy.
Maybe it's the male.
So this is one of the things that's lost in translation, where American culture has to revise itself because it's a word that means something else in that other culture. So the spin-off show of Happy Days, I'm going to age myself now. Yeah. The spin-off show of Happy Days was Joni Loves Chachi. And so Chachi is the name of the anatomical male private part. And so can you imagine the title of that show? It would not go over well in Korea. Or they would think it was a completely different show.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
They had to change the title for that spinoff. Yes.
The audience out there is going, wait a minute, isn't this Margo Kim from ABC 30? You're talking, okay. All right. Speaking of it, and it was a great segue because you just got back. Is this your first time going to Korea?
It's actually my third time.
Okay.
Yes. And
tell me about Korea. What's it like going back?
Oh, wow. Well, I'll give you some perspective because it was my third time going overseas to Korea to be immersed in my heritage. The first two times that I went, once when I was 10 and once when I was 12. And at the time, Western culture was not that influential. And so I, as a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, I had all these American clothes, and my cousins went crazy. They wanted all of my things. And so I literally came back with nothing. I had no luggage. I gave them my clothes. Back in the day, Mark, I even traveled with my physical albums, my vinyls, so that I could listen to music because, there's no iPod, there's no streaming. And so I brought those records and I left them all. Saturday Night Fever, the Grease soundtrack, Sheena Easton, all my faves. I dated myself again. And so my cousins took everything. And then we spent a month there. I was so tired of eating rice. I told my mom I am not going to eat. I went on a hunger strike. I told her, if I don't get some pizza, I'm not eating. And so she scrambled around trying to find a Western hotel. We found one in Seoul that served pizza, and everybody was eating it with a knife and fork. And I was picking it up with my hand like an uncultured American, but I did not care. And my cousins had a grand old time eating pizza with their hands.
Right.
Fast forward to now, and Seoul looks like downtown LA. There's skyscrapers, there's anything you could eat or drink, any kind of Western food and Korean food, 24 hours a day. But the incredible thing about the city is this city of 12 million people with skyscrapers everywhere and the most technologically advanced society on earth, one of the richest countries on the planet. In the middle of Seoul is this ancient palace where kings and queens from 5,000 years ago once ruled, in the middle of, surrounded by skyscrapers. And the culture embraces its heritage, and they want you to embrace it too. So there's no such thing as cultural appropriation. They want you to dress in the traditional Korean dress.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
walk in the palace and feel like you are a Korean princess or prince.
All people or
all people, all international tourists. We saw people from the U.S., Denmark, Australia, certainly from other Asian nations. We were all dressed in the Korean traditional dress, hanbok.
See, that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
It's frowned upon here in America. In Japan, when we went a few times, my buddy who's Japanese American says there's a bit of prejudice against the Japanese American. If you're a Hapa, there's a definite prejudice against the Hapas, the half Asian, half whites. But that's what I was wondering. We had the same thing in Greece where, they wanted all the clothes back in the day. And then you go back and you wonder, is the culture still going to be there? So you're saying they may have modernized as on the surface, but they still have this true Korean culture.
Absolutely. They're very proud people, and they are definitely immersed in their culture themselves, but they also have no problem sharing it, and they welcome international tourists because that's revenue coming into the country.
Do you go there and do some broadcasting while you're there too?
No, I didn't, but I did shoot, of course, lots of video and took lots of pictures, which I would normally do on vacation. But I will turn that into a story for Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in May, and we will air that story. So
nice.
It will be a glimpse into my background, and more importantly, that my family shared it with my children.
Families from Seoul? Or
yes,
from,
my
so
parents.
they were big city people?
Yes. Well, my mom was more from a countryside city, but my father was definitely...
And do you go to the old village too?
Yes, we went to old villages. We met with relatives. And of course, we went shopping. The shopping is phenomenal.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I have two girls, and so
are the villages still pretty traditional?
Yes, they're very much preserved, and they're tourist attractions now, and certainly Koreans visit them too. But they're old clay houses that people still live in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you're asked to be quiet while you walk among them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how neat that is. The food is spectacular, right?
The food is spectacular. We all lost weight because you walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And the food is made without preservatives. There's really no processed food. And so you're just eating fresh vegetables, meat, rice at every meal, lots of seafood, and then you're walking everywhere because Koreans, they commute by subway, so you have to walk to the subway station, you walk down the stairs, you walk up the stairs, and then they put in a long day. They commute, they put in long hours, they're on the subway for an hour, they come home, they maybe grab a bite to eat or a drink, and then they go to bed at night. So we were astounded by the fact that the city does not wake up till 9, sometimes 10. We were like, is this are they open? We wanted breakfast. We're Americans. We're up early. And the city was still asleep because they stay out so late.
Oh, I see.
So
what you mean.
it's
Yeah.
almost, it almost makes sense.
And they don't do the nap time during the day.
And they don't do the nap
thing.
time during the day. No, they don't do a siesta. But I almost kind of prefer it that way.
Oh, I would love that.
And it almost is, and they sit down and have coffee in the cafe.
Yeah.
So when we asked for to-go cups, they looked at us strangely. Like, we don't have to-go cups.
To-go cups.
You're just going to have
to know how
sit
to
here.
relax, have a little coffee.
Exactly.
We're going to relax a little bit more with Margo Kim right after this from ABC 30. This is KMJ, the affiliate. They're like our brothers and sisters. All right, we'll be right back after this. This is the MARC KAPETAN Show. It's News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Welcome back to the MARC KAPETAN Show. Folks, you know all about the Kapitan brothers. If you're looking for a law firm to help you with your personal injury matter, your accident case, or if you've been arrested or cited for a criminal offense, call the Kapitan brothers at 559-498-8000. Hey, if you're looking for a great concert, call American Made Concerts. Actually, look them up, AmericanMadeConcerts.com. Great rock and roll entertainment, AmericanMadeConcerts.com. We are back on with Margo Kim from ABC 30, our news affiliate here at KMJ. We were just saying, I had a buddy of mine, Darren Newborn, was in the Army. He's like a son to me. He's now a captain. Captain Darren Newborn out there in the U.S. Army. Congratulations on I think you got a promotion to captain recently. But he was in Korea for about 2-3 years. And he said he was on a high-rise in a beautiful modern apartment. And he says it was, relatively inexpensive. But he said it was beautiful. He loved every minute of it over there. So, Margo Kim, a lot of bulgogi and... galbi, right? What else? I'm trying to think.
Bulgogi, galbi, japchae, doenjang which is like a stew that you eat with a meal. Yes, there's so many different Korean foods.
Yeah. I love all that. So, what's your favorite in town? Where do you go to?
My favorite in town is the little restaurant. It's by the little grocery store in Mission Village. It was Samo's.
So that was mine.
I know, right?
Samo's, and they had the market right next door.
The market next door, yes.
Is it still open?
It's still there. Yeah, it's still there.
Marcella?
Yeah.
Pick up the kids. We're going to Korean food.
And of course, the Korean community here is tight knit, and so, my parents know everybody, and everybody knows my parents, so everybody knew everybody. So
that's too funny.
Yeah.
Man. All right, let's talk. So you mentioned while we were talking earlier about your days at Clovis West, and you said, like these musicians like Sheena Easton. And I go, because I had a question. I understand. By the way, my drummer, John Sotelo, says, he goes, who are you interviewing today? I go, Margo Kim. He goes, oh, she's a great singer. You ever heard her sing the national anthem?
Oh, that's so nice.
I go, do you want me to ask her to join the band? He goes, absolutely.
Yes.
So was Sheena Easton the girl that you patterned after?
I love Sheena Easton. I loved all the, the artists of the 80s. Yeah. And of course, like the belters of today, the Whitneys and the Mariahs and
of today?
And the Christinas.
Did you just say of today, the Whitneys? You just showed your age because
I did.
Go, like an old person. Yeah, I love that Frank Sinatra. He's great. I think he's going to make it one day.
That whippersnapper. Yeah.
Whitney's actually dead.
I know. May she rest in peace. But what a phenomenal voice. And I love all the divas, but singing the national anthem to me is just, it's so meaningful. And it not only lets me flex my singing and gives me great joy in doing that. It's another passion of mine. I sing all the time. But it allows me to give a service to the community, especially to veterans. It
even when it plays at the ball games, because my dad was a Marine, and we would hear that kind of stuff at all the ceremonies, and it chokes you up.
Yeah.
It really does. And I don't know if we have that sense out of people. You grew up. I tell some of the assistants that we have down at the office, because they're all younger. They'll listen to this music that they have on the radio, and sometimes they're playing 70s music. I go, all of that. We grew up in a great time. Again, you were about 5 years, younger than I was. But we grew up in a great time of that American patriotism, Great music, fun music that you wanted to have fun and party to, not slit your wrists to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you still feel that passion. You love singing and doing all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a way for me to get into the community and be involved. And I sing. My regular gigs would be, the 9/11 memorial, certainly, and Grizzlies games and Big Fresno Fair, and
it's a hard song to sing.
It's very difficult.
The range is crazy.
The lyrics are very archaic.
Yeah.
It doesn't follow really any pattern, so you can't get into a hook or a melody.
Right.
You just have to know it.
Okay, I'm gonna knock on wood. Yeah. Have you ever forgotten the words?
I've never forgotten the words.
Good for you.
Never forgotten the words. And
if it happens this next time.
And celebrities certainly have.
Yeah,
there have been many celebrities and professional singers who have. But it is one of those difficult things. But
how about other singing? You ever done a band?
I've never really done a band. I haven't really had the time. I really would love to.
Oh, and I have. And I got the time.
I know. I don't know how you find it. I would love to. I mean, that would be amazing.
Okay, so we do something called the Jurassic Jam. The Jurassic Jam is...
You mean for dinosaurs like me?
That's exactly what it means. We get all our old buddies from back in the 70s and 80s, and we do a benefit about once or twice a year, and we have the old people come up. I'm going to get together. We're going to figure out 3 songs.
Okay.
We'll do 80 songs if you want.
Right on.
And we'll do the Jurassic Jam, because I'm telling you, if you're a singer and you've never played with a live band like that, it is exciting.
Now, does rock and karaoke count? Because I have sang with a live band karaoke.
It does not. Oh, live band karaoke.
Yeah, live band karaoke.
Well, that's basically what we're doing. We're just playing someone else's songs. Yeah, it is fun. It's liberating. It really is.
I'm down. Sign me up.
Down. Okay, John Statello, pull out the sticks. All right, we got a new member of the band. It's usually a written rule. You don't bring the girl to the band, but she's going to be singing, so she's a front person.
Yes, I'll carry my weight there.
You ever interview a famous singing star?
Who have I interviewed? Some of the celebrity interviews. George Burns.
Oh no!
Yes. Oh. George Burns was, and that is a funny story in itself, because when I was learning how to report and write, I actually took a class at Santa Ana Community College while I was going to UC Irvine, because there was no journalism major there. So I took a class at Santa Ana, and they produced a student-produced newscast called Around and About Orange County News. This clunky, long title. But we did everything. We shot our own video, we anchored, we produced, we did everything. And so when I would call up stories to try to, set up interviews for my stories, they didn't hear the Around and About Orange County News. They just heard the tail end Orange County News. And at that time, OCN had just started. The Orange County News Network, like a CNN, but in Orange County. So they would say, "Oh, Orange County News, come on down." So here I am, a student, coming down with my gear with KABC and all the other LA stations right up there with my mic, and that's how I made a resume tape and landed my first job. I interviewed Rodney King's attorney at the time that he decided to file the civil suit.
Yeah.
And that was on my resume tape. And then George Burns was doing a gig in Orange County, and I got in and I interviewed him.
But they think you're a major news network.
Yes. And then they were probably wondering why they didn't see it on Orange County News.
But hey, how sweet was he?
Oh, he was amazing. Yeah. He was charming and
with the cigar,
that old school. Yeah, that old school entertainer. Yeah.
Oh, how great. Other favorite interviews?
And then just recently at the Central California Women's Conference, Brooke Shields, just a childhood idol and absolutely an icon.
Yeah,
that was
you do a lot of charity work where you're mentoring young kids and stuff like that, right? And I'm sure that fit right in with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's one of the perks of my job, is that I get asked to MC events or be part of charity fundraisers, and it's a great joy.
Well, the other perk of your job is that we get to see you every night. How about that for a segue? Every night, nice. ABC 30 weekdays, right?
Thanks for the promo. Yes, live, local, late breaking.
ABC 30, Margo Kim, that pretty face on TV. I'm going to say it. The hell with it. I'm old school.
Thank you.
It was seriously great having you on. I loved it.
It was a pleasure, Mark. The time flew. So
it flew.
I'll
really
come back
did.
anytime.
Thank you. All right. We'll see you next week on the Mark Kapetan Show. Thanks to my wonderful producer, Marcella Solorio-Taylor, also another pretty face, for all our hard work. This is the Mark Kapetan Show on KMJ.